See, that's what happens when you put 3 tiers of videos in the video queue phase of the production app. Welcome to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. Yeah, I'm doing this live, by hand, artisanal, handmade, no GMOs. Any GMOs involved in this? I don't think there are GMOs involved in making this show, but
there's some OMGs, but there's no GMOs.
Yeah, there's definitely some OMGs. Welcome to the show. Well, we've got a few things. The first full weekend slate of NFL action happening for us right now, and I'm excited. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And seated across from me with his new production assistant, his favorite place kicker of all time, because he has never made contact with a football at all.
Sounds familiar.
So he can only, it's what you're going to call him, Little Hartley. Is that what you're going to call him?
Cute, yeah. I'm going to call him LH.
But he's Charles Brown.
He is Charles Brown.
He's Charles.
Yes.
You welcome Charles to the show. Matt has a mascot, courtesy of Frank Mirando.
Gifted to me. Thank you very much for thinking of me, Frank.
Our unofficial external producer. The guy who goes, hey, the volume is a little too low. Here, let me bring the microphone closer to my mouth so that Frank doesn't send me a text message going, I can't hear you. Can you hear me now, Frank?
I can hear you.
I can hear you. I'm glad everybody can hear me, but and actually we're going to be changing over to these wireless lavs for regular season. By the way, just to let you know, there's going to be a technical upgrade. Look at the focus. Look at the focus. Just look at the focus. So, yeah, NFL season preseason has started in earnest, and we've already seen the youngsters are showing out.
Jackson Dart.
Yeah, I mean, now I love the cynical analysts out there like, well, pay any attention to preseason. I'm like, well, let me tell you a little something there, Bunky. A little something there, Cupcake. You don't pay. Please play against me in fantasy football if you don't pay attention to preseason. Please wait until 2 or 3 days before our draft, and then go back in and I'll just look up and see who did what, where, when, and how, and see who's hurt and whatnot. Go ahead, you do that, because these first 2 weeks are critical. The new paradigm in the NFL is it's a 3-game preseason, 3, with in between they have joint team practices, which involve a little bit of contact, a little bit of live game action, but these are the games. And what we're seeing now is the coaches are shifting their philosophies to playing their starters in the first game, playing their starters a little in the second game, and then in the third game, giving all their starters off and putting all the young guys in there. All the young guys, newbies, and people who are trying to make the team. And it seems to be it's paying dividends, it's paying off. We are seeing the injury bug in the entire league is crazy this year. I mean, nuts. I mean, being a long-suffering Dolphin fan, we lost the entire defensive backfield to injury before we started trading and grabbing guys.
Yeah,
but
that one guy who was in bad shape looks like he's going to be okay now. The defensive back for the Lions.
Yeah. Well,
it just seems like now every year, last couple of years, there's somebody on the turf way too long.
Well,
Like that guy was on the turf for a long. And again,
Right.
and right away you're thinking the worst because it is a dangerous sport.
well,
And we've
especially
seen.
especially if you get half the team to circle around him and take a knee and start praying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you see a guy
Okay.
laying on the field for 15 minutes and they're working on you for 15 minutes. You don't. It's not good. You know.
All right, now you played football. You played organized ball.
I played baseball. I played
baseball.
every sport.
Okay. Well, I know that
I bowled,
in practice.
Contact bowling.
I had a concussion in practice. Got my bell rung. Okay, which I recognize it because I had gotten my bell rung before. But at the ripe old age of 15, I had a concussion. I must have been laying on the field, laying down, looking up at the sky for a minute. For everybody, like, hey, this guy is not getting up. And then I look up and there's like a girl trainer and like the guy who's like an off-duty EMT who's like, "Hey, you okay? What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay. You okay?" I took a deep breath. I went, and I just put my hand out. They helped me up and walked off. Now, they back an ambulance onto the field.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
this guy was unconscious though.
well,
I mean, it's pretty
yeah.
serious.
Well, have you ever gotten a stinger?
Yeah, I've been hit
Like
many
jammed
times.
neck,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know, like knocked silly, like arms numb type of a stinger.
Yeah.
That's what happened to the kid. And yes, you err on the side of caution when it comes to neurological injuries like that. Certainly, there's too many former players that you see them and they're half crippled by the time they're 50. You know, they're half crippled. They're using canes and walkers and wheelchairs and scooters. You know, sure, certainly, err on the side of caution.
I just think in this instance, the fact that he lost consciousness
Yeah.
just exemplifies
Oh, yeah.
the deal because there aren't many good reasons why you lose consciousness to
Right.
begin with,
Well, and-
especially from a violent hit.
Right. Well,
But,
the impact was he stuck his face into the hit.
Yeah, but he's okay. Apparently, a couple of days he'll be sore, I'm sure, but he'll be back on the field, I'm
Oh,
sure,
I'm
by
sure
week
he's
one.
sore as hell.
He
when
got
I had a
lucky. I
stinger.
mean,
Oh my
because
God.
listen, players do get seriously hurt in football. We've had over the years, guys have been paralyzed, and
Modern day gladiators, baby.
it's a violent sport.
Yeah, simple as that. So we of course we wish him and all players who have gotten hurt. Poor Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore was injured on the opening kickoff for the Vikings. Okay, he missed last year
On the opening kickoff.
with a serious knee injury, and now he has another serious knee.
know,
I feel
it's
so bad for that kid. He
Speaking
is so
of knees,
talented.
the Chargers lose their left tackle for the year.
Ooh,
Slater.
patellar tendon.
Man,
I,
that's-
have you ever injured your patellar tendon?
I don't think so.
I
I've
caught
had
a-
knee surgeries, but not the
Right.
patella
Well,
tendon.
I caught a helmet in the knee. Every time we talk about injuries, I can talk about somewhere where I got hurt. But early on, I caught a helmet right in the knee, and it got under my knee pad. Okay, because you know your knee pads ride up when you're running around, pushing around, whatever. Your knee pads in your football pants ride up, right under the knee. Huge bruise, and the doctor examined my knee, and he's like, "Well, it didn't get your patella tendon, and that's what's important. It's going to hurt for a long time because you have an internal bruise." So he hurt the patella tendon, and I hope that he comes to. Rashawn Slater is a fantastic football player. He's a good human being. We wish you nothing but the best, Rashawn.
It's
really
tough to
really do.
replace your left
Really
tackle.
tough. Really tough.
Start
Oh.
the year.
And
yeah.
once again, as a Dolphin fan, I can relate.
Yeah, but I have faith in that team. I got faith in Harbaugh and
Oh yeah,
in the
Oh,
offense and
they've
stuff.
already shuffled things. They moved Alt to left tackle.
Yeah, he was right tackle. They moved him to left tackle.
and Alt's a beast.
Yeah, no, I mean he's good, but again, you'd like to have him where he's supposed to be. You know,
You'd like to have the guy that you just
You
made
would've
the
had-
highest paid offensive lineman in the league.
You would have
playing.
had two bookends. Now you got
Yeah.
one bookend and one.
And other guys playing out of
Yeah,
position
one
too.
fill in. So
It's okay. They'll
Yeah.
make it happen.
Yeah.
So
it's football.
let's get right after it, man. I mean, I'm so psyched and I'm so pumped and I'm so jacked up on coffee right now about the week one that we need to actually get into a topic, and the topic will be rookie impacts. Okay, which will then segue into what the other prepared topic that you have. But rookie impacts, we're seeing, of course, quarterbacks come out and make a huge impact. Now everybody's like, "Oh, it's just the preseason." I'm like, yeah, it's just the preseason, but with quarterbacks, you can tell. You can tell if they're going to be good right away or if they're not, because you can tell if a quarterback's coming out and he's awkward and he can't get the team out of the huddle and into alignment. He can't call the audible. He can't call the signals. He can't read. You can tell when there's a little bit of confusion and hesitation. You can tell. Okay, but we did not see that with Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, who I heard he's been getting an average of 13 reps of practice because he's been number 4 on the depth chart. 13 reps. You know his dad is Deion Sanders, of course. And you know that this kid has been raised since birth to be a football player. And dad has probably had him sporting the professional attitude since he's about 10. So this kid went in and shut his mouth and took whatever they gave him. And then here it is, his opportunity. And he jumped up and balled out.
Yeah, he played pretty well.
He had the command of the offense. He was going up against ones, and he handled pressure. And it was a little bit of a rough start to begin with, but everybody starts off cold. I mean, very few people. Oh, excuse me. Patrick Mahomes was the only guy who did not have a rough start all week or a cold start, because he had one pass for 1 yard and 1 touchdown. We hate you, Patrick.
You have to get 2 completions.
We hate you, Patrick. Yeah. Hey, he sucks.
All right.
We hate him. Anyway, but back to Jackson Dart. I know you want to talk about Jackson Dart.
Well, about anybody, really. I mean, your opening was about the preseason. I watched the preseason. I don't put a lot of stock into it. You do get stories that come out of the preseason. It is important to see who they're going up against. When you mentioned Shedeur Sanders, I mean, everything on him to this point, there's a reason why he's 4th on the depth chart. He came in just not prepared. I mean, that was the general consensus. Yes, maybe he looks like the most talented guy. Maybe he's got the highest ceiling, and maybe he'll get there. We're rooting for him, right? But at this point, again, it's about reps. And in his first opportunity, he showed that he could perform.
He belongs.
And that's a good step for him. But he is a long way out from being there on Sundays, I feel. And a lot of guys feel the same way that are in the know.
No, I'm not saying he's going to take over the team.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, it's just I just think overall, especially in preseason now, we have to kind of take a little bit of a step back. But I will say this. What you are seeing collectively, and this is over the last several years, is the rookie impact, like we said. And that's because these guys coming in are just so much better prepared. Better prepared mentally, better prepared physically. They've had opportunities for a very long time to better their craft. You're seeing athletes across all sports. Use Ohtani as the example in baseball, Travis Hunter now as the example in football, guys that are playing 2 different positions and doing it at an extremely high level. That's going to continue to increase. So that sort of value, obviously, you've never seen before. So the overall landscape of sports has improved. But I will say this carefully, is that we tend to put expectations on these players based upon where they're being selected in the real NFL draft. All right, we expect these first-round quarterbacks to all hit. We expect, a third-round quarterback to take some time. These boxes that we put these players in, I don't think they necessarily apply right now in today's landscape, because you've got things we haven't seen before. You have athletes that are doing things at rates and speeds and abilities that we've never seen before, and it's at a very early age, at a very early beginning part in their careers. So I don't know. I think overall, we can find some of these rookies in this year's draft. When we get back to looking at fantasy, which is what it is that I like to talk about, that's what we all do, is when you're looking at these particular players we're going to talk about today, some of these rookies, we're not going to hit on all the rookies. You're not going to hit on every pick you make, but you got to build yourself a solid draft for your team so that you have the tiers set up, you've got your players selected that you're looking for, but you got to have guys in these middle rounds that you feel comfortable enough that are going to anchor the part of your offense, like your running back room, for instance. And I went through, I've done a bunch of mocks, I'll do a bunch more. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to go into any of your drafts with a specific plan that starts out with, I have to take this player, or I'm not going to take this player, or whatever the case may be.
Flexibility is critical.
The draft room changes consistently. Guys that may have been on your board get taken, then you have to adjust. So that's why the importance of the whole tier things that we discuss. Have a series of players set up so that if they do take one of your guys, you've got a backup plan. Just don't lock yourself into the 0 RB strategy, or don't lock yourself into, well, I'm not taking a quarterback to the 10th round. Those sorts of statements don't apply anymore. Okay, you can't do that. You have to be fluid in the draft, and you have to be aware of where these players are being taken. So back to the rookies.
Or if you play in our leagues, go right ahead and do that.
Last
Go
year,
do that all you want.
you had guys like Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers, all these rookies get on the scene that had monster years. And here's the reward. Those guys are now first-round picks. Malik Neighbors, I've seen him go as 6 or 7 overall. Okay? That's pretty good for a second-year guy. Brock Bowers, mostly being taken in the second round. He's being the first tight end taken in leagues that don't even favor tight ends. Why?
Travis who?
Because you can pencil in 100 catches. So these are rookies. So there's going to be guys like that again this year that will step into those roles that next year, this year they're taken in round 7, round 8, round 9, round 10. Next year they're in round 3, round 2, round 1. So we're looking for those guys.
Because everybody follows that trend.
We're looking for those guys, and there are a
Be
bunch.
ahead of the trend.
What I want to focus today is on the running backs. There's a lot of impact rookie running backs that I feel like if you can get your anchor early, okay, depending on how things fall. But let's just go over, like, say, round 5, for instance. And there are 4 running backs that I dug into. Now, when I say round 5, I'm using one site, one expert draft. I do refresh it. Some of the spots change. And as we get closer to the regular season, maybe a guy that was been taken in the 5th, now he's in the 4th, or now he's in the 6th. So this is just an average draft position.
Right,
ADP.
and this is from the perspective that you go in the first round and you pick up your bell cow, whether it be Saquon Barkley,
if he's available,
or what other name.
But there's also
you get in your first round, you get your bell cow back.
If you get a running back, but also half the running backs in the first round or half the receivers are being taken too. It's a split. You're getting, for the most part, 6 and 6. So it just depends on how it all shakes out. But let's go over some of the running backs that I keyed on that I really like, and I'll go in order and how I like them. Trayvon Henderson for New England. Okay,
rookie.
That dude looked really good first game.
First time he touches the ball.
Yeah.
House.
Yeah, he is the full package, and it's an ascending team with an offense that's improving.
Ohio State running back.
With a coach that we know likes to run the football.
To hand that football off.
This dude's really, really good. He's averaged in round 5, pick 7. Okay, here's a guy that, again, people just for some reason don't respect this guy, David Montgomery.
Oh,
we know the situation. We know everybody is in love with Jahmyr Gibbs, but last year David Montgomery finished as running back 9 overall. Now Gibbs was 5. But look at the separation where you took Gibbs and where you took Montgomery last year.
Yeah.
Gibbs was a first-round pick, back-end first round, beginning of second round last year, and Montgomery was a 7th or 8th round selection.
Which was crazy.
Now this year, Gibbs is being taken.
That's where I selected him in the 8th round.
2, 3, 4 overall, and Montgomery's he's sliding to the 5th or 6th round. Okay, now I'm not saying Montgomery's going to have the season that Gibbs is going to have, but he's cemented in that offense. And when you have new coaches in place and new systems, you rely on what you know you have in the building, which is those 2 guys, which are going to run the hell out of the football. And Montgomery has a role in that offense.
Oh, okay. Quick tangent here. You pick Gibbs in the first round. Do you pick Montgomery if he's available in the 5th or 6th? Do you back him up with the other guy?
You know what?
The supposed handcuff?
See, that's not technically a handcuff.
Right, I know.
Because those guys have 2 defined roles. I would rather key on one of the 2 depending on where they fell.
Right.
Now, if I'm not inside the first 5 or 6 picks, you're not going to get Gibbs. He's probably going inside those first picks.
Right.
So if you like Montgomery, then you're going to focus on where he's going to fall.
Right.
And I would rather in that situation have an either or. I don't want to have both.
Right.
Because in having both, again, you can roll them out. And last year it would have worked out for you overall. But I just don't feel comfortable in that situation because it's not a true handcuff.
Well, and there's also some mitigating factors that, the offensive coordinator is different, although they're going to run a similar system.
Right.
They lost Ragnow, their all-pro center. He retired.
Right.
Okay, so there's a little bit of difference. There's a little, there's little differentiation factors, but I still say that they're going to go with the same philosophy. They're going to run the same plays because why fix what ain't broke?
Listen, Goff is a pocket quarterback.
Exactly.
So what helps him the most is play action, efficient run game. That's what makes him so good. So I really like David Montgomery, where he's being taken. Here's another guy. Now back to the rookies. R.J. Harvey.
Woo-hoo.
Okay, this Denver team, everybody's ragging about their defense, how good they're going to be.
Yep.
They made it even better.
They're not wrong.
What supports a good defense? A good run game.
Pound the rock.
Yes, and you got a coach that finally has got that team, I think, going in the right direction. Last year they took a huge step under Nick's. This year I think they take another step. So I really like the offense, the approach. That's something. These are all these things you have to consider. Is environment is where these players are, and
Sean
not just
Payton.
because that environment, if it's a good environment, is going to increase opportunity, and opportunity means production, and that's what we're looking for. Back to my Steelers, Caleb Johnson. Again, a little bit of a timeshare. They have him taken actually as the first of the rookie running backs. Besides, I think O'Mara Hampton goes in the fourth.
Well, and the big analysis on this kid, besides he's a good sized kid and he's a strong kid, is that he is a plant your foot and get up the field runner, and that's exactly what Tomlin loves. That's exactly Steeler style.
Oh, yeah.
Which is one cut, go.
The reason why I have him fourth in that list is, again, circumstances. Offensive line for the Steelers, I'm not a big fan of them. Coaching, not a big fan.
But they improved, though. They got two better players. They got one guy came back from injury. So
Aaron Rodgers has been complaining about the O-line since he got there. So whatever. We'll see how it all plays out. So
he complains about Gatorade.
Caleb Johnson's being taken actually a few picks before these guys, but I've got him as 4 overall. And then here's a guy that I love that you can even wait a couple of rounds later. Jordan Mason from Minnesota.
Oh.
Again, checks and boxes, ascending offense. The guy can play all 3 downs. Look at the environment he's in. I know Aaron Jones is there, but Aaron Jones, again, is another year removed from injuries.
Missed 3 games last year.
Yeah, he's a guy that you have to consider that if that running back
little
room opens
rust
up,
on the bucket.
Mason jumps right in. Let's throw some numbers at Mason. You know how I like to look at the metrics to define what the player is.
Right.
Now, you can't change the situation. But if you take a player that's got talent and put him into a positive situation like the Minnesota's offensive line, which could be a top 5 line this year, let's look at Mason's numbers last year. He was 2nd in explosive run rate, okay? He was 6th in missed tackles. He was 3rd in yards after contact. Those sorts of metrics tell you this guy's a beast, right? Give him opportunities, give him the ball, give him a lanes to run through and a good offense. This kid's going to be successful.
He's got good hands, too.
And I wouldn't mind taking him as my 2nd or 3rd running back because he's got the potential to be on the field every Sunday. Maybe not opening the season, but it's definitely timeshare to start. And then based on opportunities, this kid's going to get some play. He's a beast. He's got opportunity now. He's in a good environment. So that's around 8-10 selection. Oof. Way down the list. So if you've got these running backs, and I mentioned rookies, even though Montgomery's not a rookie, 4 of these 5 guys are. In right situations, these guys are going to flourish and they're going to help your team. So you're building in the early parts of the draft. I get it. Everybody's focused on the same group of players. But the separation is when you start finding guys like this. And when you build a roster construction so that you've got, and I've done the mocks. I'll give you an example. I went receivers, just how it fell. Neighbors, Bowers, Higgins. I got 3 guys there that can total 300 catches between them.
Yep.
Now I can safely start to target my running backs. And if I can get 2 or 3 of these guys, and there's a chance the way I set this particular draft up, I feel like I'm in a really good spot. So it all comes down to zigging and zagging. If the room is zigging, you're zagging. Okay, you got to go different directions. You got to be in position to make adjustments based on what the draft room is telling you.
Well, and listen, the beautiful part, personnel-wise, and quality of play per individual player, we're starting to see that depth of quality or that quality depth in the NFL really start to rise. Okay, you're looking at players that you have clear-cut starters, but the guys behind them, they're good. And when they get their chances to shine, they shine. So the NFL, right now it's starting to bleed into the running back rooms now. You're starting to get teams that are 2 and 3 deep with quality running backs. They are. They're just 2 and 3 deep with quality running backs. And teams are now going to the point where, okay, I've got a guy, I've got a bell cow, I've got at least a 2, if not an all 3 down back, but we have to have a backup. We have to have a quality guy. So that leads a team like the Los Angeles Rams, who have Kyron Williams, who is a proven commodity. He is a really good feature back. But they went and got Blake Corum. Blake Corum is a really good running back. Okay, his rookie season was a little rough. He got a little dinged up. This year he comes out a little bigger, a little heavier, and you see him running the other day hard and hitting it fast. And he wants a bigger share of the offense. So you got some young stud running backs. You got to take a look at whoever's backing up McCaffrey out in San Francisco. Okay, because San Francisco retooled their offensive line. That's the reason why I have faith in them being a whole lot better than people think.
There's a few reasons too. They got the easiest schedule in football.
Yeah, but their offensive line is
good.
intact.
Yeah,
everything begins with that.
Listen, they're going to go as far as McCaffrey can take them.
But
for sure.
you got to pay attention to who's backing McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Because what have we seen every time that the back of the third string running back in San Francisco goes off? So you got to watch your depth. Okay, you got to watch your rookies. I'm really excited about a lot of rookies this year. There's a lot of high quality rookies have come out that even got drafted third, fourth, fifth round guys coming out. I'm not just talking about overall players. I'm talking about skill position players in a position to start to get a lot of playing time. So you have to pay attention. You got to pay attention to the preseason.
You know what? Still, I'm just going to scream from the metric mountaintop because the metrics, I think, for these players tell a much better story as to how the player got the stats that they got, how they got to the numbers.
Sure.
And when you look at players, and again, I rattle off these particular categories, like for instance, running backs, explosive run rates, missed tackles, yards after contact. For receivers, I look at.
Please explain explosive run rate.
Well, it's just explosive run rates from starting position to max speed. That's what that define is. He was the second fastest guy at that last year. This is Jordan Mason. We look at receivers. I look at separation rate. Separation rate is ability to separate from your defender. I look at route win rates, which is that predetermined routes. You're running a dig, you're running a post, you're going to win that route. Okay, so he was 22nd. I'm talking about Christian Kirk here. So get into the metrics of players. Now I'm going to use Christian Kirk as my example. When I say the metrics tell a story, they don't tell the whole story because environment is the rest of the story. And if you look at a guy like Christian Kirk, who I mentioned, 13 in separation rate. This is out of 125 qualified receivers.
Right.
So he's a top 10% guy. Top 10% in separation rate. Top 15% in route win rate.
Don't tell people about Christian Kirk. That's my super double secret wide receiver too.
Now, if you look at why the last 2 years he wasn't as productive, well, he had a collarbone injury, took him out for 6 weeks. He had another injury, he had a calf injury prior to that 2 seasons ago. So the last 2 seasons, he's dealing with multiple coaches in Jacksonville.
Debilitating injuries. Playing through them.
We know the situation with the offense and how inept they've been. But yet, you go back to 2 years when he was healthy, and he was averaging, when he got 100 targets in each of those seasons, which is the number, 100 targets, remember that, he averaged 80 catches and 1,050 yards with 8 touchdowns. Same player, guys.
Well, there's a reason why he got a big free agent contract from Jacksonville.
So you got a guy getting paid. You got a guy now that if you're in favor of Jacksonville's offense and you think they're going to be even slightly better than what they were.
He's not with Jacksonville anymore.
Houston, I'm saying compared to where he was in Jacksonville, which was terrible. Now he's in Houston. You look at Tank Dell being hurt. Opportunity now arises. Guy steps in here who's proven.
Huge.
Massive, right? So,
huge.
By the way, 10th round.
But okay, and please wait till the 10th round and watch me draft him in the 9th.
Yeah, 10th round. So it's like these are the sorts of players that if you can get into the metrics, get into what tells the story, then you can sort of kind of extrapolate out and paint a picture. Paint a picture and figure out, well, okay, he fell off the last 2 years. Why? Well, injuries, system, coaching, bad quarterback play. Okay, where is he now? Better quarterback, better system, opportunity. You've erased all the negatives that he's been dealing with for the last 2 years.
Right.
How do you not expect him to at least give you production for a 10th round player? He's being taken as like wide receiver 52. Yeah. Right? 46, whatever. It's okay, there's opportunity, there's a ceiling there. You go get that
right.
guy.
Well, listen, conversely, you also have to pay attention to the coaching changes around the league in the offseason. Because you're changing philosophies. You're changing systems. You're doing complete system changes. Owners and general managers don't hire coaches because I want to get the same coach as what I had last time because maybe, the same coach you had last time sucked. Yeah. So you got to get somebody better. That's going to be a different season, different system, different philosophy, different way of doing things. A lot of people are focusing on the New England Patriots and expecting vast improvement. And then, of course, Drake May comes out and lays an egg, but that's okay. It's the first preseason game, okay? And not to be dismissive of preseason, but sometimes you got to come out and you got to get that rust off. You got to get the butterflies out, whatever, okay? But you look at changes in Jacksonville with Liam Cohen, okay? You can go and ask Baker Mayfield, who resurrected his career.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta like that system now, much better than what it's ever been.
Right.
Yeah.
And
they bring in help. They bring in they draft Travis Hunter.
Yeah. Well, and they also and a lot of things. See, I dig back on coaches' histories, and Liam Cohen was a wide receivers coach. A wide receivers coach under Arians, and who were his wide receivers for 2 years under Arians before he became the offensive coordinator? Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. Okay, so he understands wide receivers, and of course, last year when he was in Tampa, he coached up several young guys, including Cade Otton, a tight end who had a breakout year last year. The kid McMillan, who was a WR4 before the injury bug hit. They were going out there with 2s and 3s and 4s at wide receiver and tight end. And still, Baker Mayfield balled out. Still, that offense scored points. So keep an eye on Jacksonville, because he's got, dare I say, a younger and slightly better talent set on that offense.
Yeah.
Slightly. I'll give an edge to wide receiver right now just because Brian Thomas is a monster. He's an absolute beast. So you keep an eye on Jacksonville. Speaking of changes, Las Vegas, got to keep an eye on that style, okay? Because they have got a bell cow back. They have a good possession receiver in Jacoby Myers and Associates, and Brock Bowers, the beast.
Yep.
So you got to keep an eye on that system because Chip Kelly is running that thing, and we all know Chip Kelly offense is zing, 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 boom, boom, boom.
A lot of plays.
So you got to watch. You got to watch the changes.
A lot of plays.
'Cause if you don't watch the changes, you're going to be you're picking in the 8th, 9th, 10th round, and instead of going after a systemic guy,
you take the Broncos defense.
you take the Broncos defense.
Yeah,
exactly,
because they're the best.
Which isn't a bad.
It's not
a bad pick, but
it's a bad pick.
What do you mean it's a bad pick?
In your home league, in our
pick a
leagues,
kicker.
there will be a team. There will be a defense taken around 10.
Of course.
Yeah, which is just tremendous.
Of course.
It's just lazy,
Hilarious,
and lazy and tremendous.
So yeah, you know, the preseason counts. I love getting text messages from my family. Yeah, my family, really dedicated, viewers of my show. Yeah, thanks. Once again, shout out to my brother who had himself a little health scare the last couple of days. And yes, I do still want to come over and kick your ass. So yeah, you got to pay attention to the preseason. You really, really have to pay attention to the changes that happen in the off season. It's not just for us football nerds. Okay, if you want to be successful in fantasy leagues, DFS, and wagering. These are 3 things that we pay a lot of attention to, okay? We're not just fanboys. We're out here to succeed. So that's stuff you got to pay attention to. You want to take a quick break?
Yeah.
And we'll...
I found some interesting, funny notes about some of the team's success last year. Just some interesting statistics we'll go over.
Well, hold on to it.
Yeah.
Wait for the the break to be over.
Yeah,
and get a drink of water, or I don't know, or go to the bathroom and shave your ass, whatever it is. We'll come back in about a minute and a half at the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk.
We live a pie on our day. We live a pie on our day.
Yes.
Why now?
We better get going. God knows what the team is doing with just Farmer Fran watching them.
Le hombre de temps va me bouger en la vie, quoi va wrong, et réclamation va me bouger dying.
You can't skate, you can't shoot, you're ugly, and he's so fucking awkward. Oh my god. But you're lucky, because none of that really matters. What matters is effort, work ethic. So when you get to camp, what are you going to be?
The hardest worker out there.
That's right, the hardest worker out there. Say it again.
The hardest worker out there.
That's right, say it again.
The hardest worker out there.
Hell yeah, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah, fuck yeah.
That's what matters. That's what gets you remembered. You understand? Do you think anyone's going to be thinking about Jack's big forehead when they see a guy who will play an entire period if you need him to? Do you think anyone's going to be thinking about Mason's back sits when they see a guy who's willing to push through the pain? And hey, don't forget where you come from. You're from the north. You're from Sudbury. We ain't pretty and we get dirty. Make fucking sure when they see your number out there, they see your hometown in the program and they say bingo. Of course. You're from the home of the smokestacks. You're from the home of the mines. And you're from the home of the Sudbury Blueberry Bulldogs, bitch. Represent. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Don't sound like it, boys.
Yeah.
Ready to do what it takes?
Yeah.
To be unforgettable?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Get dirty. Get ugly. Get the job done.
Let's go. You're fucking right. Here we go. You're good at this, Shorzy.
Yeah. I love Shorzy. I really do. I really love that show. But I'm not from the north. Nope. Welcome back to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. I had to inject a little hockey into it. I mean, now that South Florida, now that Miami has become a hockey town, I guess. Yeah. South Florida. And you can call it bandwagon all you want, but are you going to ignore a championship team? Are you going to ignore one of the feel good stories?
But you know what
hockey?
it does, though, honestly? Maybe it's bandwagon for us adults who are just desperate for a good anything down here in South Florida. But you're developing a fan base because now you have all these kids that are watching it and loving the Panthers.
Yeah, well, listen, that fan base developed before this championship run, before the development of this team through Bill Zito. That developed because they always had really good community outreach. So even when they sucked, even when they were mediocre, you still had a lot of kids in there. They gave away a lot of tickets to youth groups. So once that excellence started to come forward, everybody came out of the woodwork. It's all about frequency. The frequency of times that you get the fans to come out to your games, how many games you get them to come out to in a given year. Yeah. So kudos to the Panthers and, be the hardest worker out there, kids. Nobody works harder than you.
Stay in school.
Yeah, and give your balls a tug. Okay,
Whoa.
so
Nice.
You were saying you had something that you wanted to touch on.
Well, I like to
here in our final segment.
I like to
22
find
minutes.
stuff, and again, it's very easy to assume that because something happened before, it's going to happen again. That's called laziness, in my opinion. I think it happened before. Certainly, you find the story as to why. That story clearly is going to change this year. There's different pieces in place, different variables, different.
And it
everything.
applies to ex-girlfriends.
Yeah, so it's understanding that. I like to use last year's performances as a baseline and then determine, like I like to throw that term regression around, if it's going to regress to the means, what are the means, is it going to go up, is it going to go down? Okay. What was interesting last year is Tampa. We know Tampa, everybody that was their darling last year, right? Baker Mayfield, how good they were, playoff team, win the division. Tampa last year had the best record against all the backup quarterbacks in football. They got to face backup quarterbacks 5 times last year. This was a week after teams had gotten hurt and lost their starting quarterback. So Stidham comes in for Denver or whoever comes in. They were 4-1 against the backups last year. Okay, that's advantageous when you're.
Sometimes backups are tougher to game plan against.
That is also an angle, but I will say I'd rather face Cincinnati's backup than Joe Burrow. I'd rather face Baltimore's backup than Lamar Jackson. So I'm not saying that's who they face, but again, you would have the advantage if your starting quarterback is out. So that was interesting for Tampa last year. Now, I don't know how many backups they're going to play this year. I can't predict that. You can't predict that at all. But you can say that maybe part of Tampa's success last year was schedule related, because you can clearly see they had a little bit of an advantage. Okay, that's one. Here's something else that I like to look at. The Redskins last year. You know, the Redskins were I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The Commanders, who are soon again to be the Redskins, were number 1 last year in 4th down conversion and in red zone offense. Pretty amazing, right? Now, we know Washington had great success last year. Jane Daniels, again, the darling of the league for quarterbacks. Is it likely that that team's going to be number 1 again this year in 4th down conversions and red zone efficiency? Probably not. Now, they're not going to be
top 5.
Okay, but whatever the case may be, there's a win in there, okay, based on those stats that they may not get this year.
Oh, yeah.
And there's other things you start to look at. So when you start to paint a picture, that's got to be one of your paintbrushes.
Okay.
Is to think that that team is probably not going to have that high of level of success on 2 really important categories, scoring categories in the league. There's going to be a little bit of a step back this year. Okay, that obviously is going to affect production and outcome, so that's something to look at. The Eagles, they have the toughest schedule this year on paper. Now, they're also going into it with a new offensive coordinator. So the new offensive coordinator this year, I think, is Kevin Patullo is his name. Okay, this is a new AC.
Nice Italian man. There's a lot of Italian guys.
Big Giddy influence in the league. Yeah, I've seen that.
And in Philadelphia, nah, get out of here.
Now, the Giants are on the schedule. The Cowboys are on the schedule. I don't necessarily trust those 2 teams.
Whizzes for everybody.
But the Giants are certainly getting better, and we know what the Cowboys bring. It's always a tough battle with those 2 teams. So will the Eagles have the same level of success they had last year with the toughest schedule this year? New offensive coordinators, going to be some adjustments. Okay, not quite sure. My eggs aren't going to be all in that basket. The Packers last year, everybody was banging Jordan Love. Now, a lot of people had to get into the reason why Jordan Love
a lot of banging.
Didn't play last year very well in the last 7 or 8 games. Had a turnover in every game. Got more into it.
Playing hurt, it does not help.
Very hurt. He was hurt on 2 fronts: upper body, lower body injuries. They went out and got some help. They signed Golden, so they know what they have there in the building. Green Bay's a good football team, and I think they're going to be right back in the mix this year with Love.
Golden. What position does he play? I have no idea who he is.
Wide receiver.
No. He's a tight end, 3rd string tight end. Yeah.
Falcons. Well, the Falcons last year. Everybody's waiting for Penix this year. The offense. What did they do?
Who?
They went out and they signed 2 edge rushers and drafted another one. What was the hole on the Falcons last year was the defense. Now they're going to be bringing pressure.
Anybody.
Now they're bringing pressure. So they went out and hopefully fixed that need. So they're making a step in a certain direction. The Niners. Everybody was like, do we pay Brock? Do we not pay Brock? Got into some coach speak. He got his contract. The talk about Brock, the important thing about Brock, his valuability is consistency and effort. Okay, kid works harder than anybody in the building. That's the story on him. It's been that way since day one. He is overly productive in that offense. He is the man in that room. He's 24 years old, and they say he's got the soul of an elder, okay? Very mature, very responsible. He's their guy, and he's going to be there for a long time. So they're in a good spot.
He's already an old man.
Draw pictures about Cincinnati. Everybody's saying how good the offense is going to be this year. Why? Part of it, here's the story, the defense is terrible. And they didn't do much in the offseason to improve that defense. So it's Joe Burrow flinging the ball, using the weapon, scoring 40 points, get yourself pieces of that. Denver last year had the number 2 defense overall, and they went out in the offseason and got better at defense.
Crazy better.
All right, so when everybody's talking about Drake May and everybody's talking about, Bo Nix, everybody's talking about the offensive pieces and that, sometimes a good defense could limit a good offense. Because if you're in a lot of games that are 21-17 or you've got the lead in the 4th quarter and you're running the football, you start to reduce the number of pieces that get involved in that offense. It becomes a little bit more downhill, a little bit more predictable, and if they're good at it and they can protect leads, that could be a philosophy that's not going to support your growth for Bo Nix and your reaching of a Cortland Sutton that they just paid all that money to and all this other thing. So you build the environment, start to paint your picture, use all the brushes. Don't use the brushes that are just in your head that you have an opinion about somebody that you think because a player did something the previous year, oh, he's going to do the same this year. Check. Doesn't work like that. You got to get into it. You got to find out the reason why.
All right, so let's take a look back at Sean Payton, the head coach of the Denver Broncos. his early successes with the New Orleans Saints, which we all know he came in there and within 2 years he had a Super Bowl. Within 4 years he had 2 appearances in the Super Bowl. So let's take a look back at what his philosophies were back then. Because the first thing he did was he got himself a quarterback in Drew Brees. And the second thing he did was he drafted an offensive line. And he built that offensive line. It only took him 1 year to build the O-line. Okay, he had Deuce McAllister, who was on the back end of his career. But guess what? Second year, when they won the Super Bowl, what did they do? It was a balanced offense. They smashed people to death, and then they threw it over the top to Golston and to who else? And Michael Thomas. Okay, they threw it over the top. Okay, so they beat you to death, play action, and deadly accuracy by Drew Brees. What do they have now? They have an accurate quarterback. They have improved the offensive line. They now have brought in a young rookie running back who is going to be, we think, is going to be pretty exceptional. And they rebuilt the heart of that defense. They went and got, Drake Greenlaw and the kid from the kid from San Francisco. God, I can't remember, Mafutu, whatever it is. They went and they got down the middle. Okay, they got plenty of guys on the edge. They've got Patrick Surtain the second out on the edge as their boundary corner, their lockdown corner. That's going to be a team that's going to challenge the Kansas City Chiefs. Why? Because Sean Payton has the team he wants. Period. He has the team he wants, and put a little money on it. I'm telling you, go get yourself some futures to win the AFC West. Pretty good bet.
I like Denver this year a lot.
To win the AFC, to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl,
maybe
it's a good bet.
Maybe.
Win the Super Bowl, even better bet. Nobody believes it yet. I kind of do. So keep an eye on the Broncos.
I like Denver. Just more crazy stuff. Guess who had the highest yards per attempt last year of all the quarterbacks? I think he only played 7 games. That's a little bit of a hint. But the highest yards per air attempt last year, Michael Penix.
Yep.
Let's talk about Michael Penix.
Yep. Well, let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah. Again,
Woo!
They went out and what they do? They shored up the defense. They got some edge rushers, created a little pressure.
Is he going to unlock Pitts?
No, I don't think it's unlocking at this. You can't. I mean, it's been 4 years, so it's nothing we haven't really seen. I don't think Penix is going to come in.
They showed flashes towards the end of the season last year.
Listen, I do like Michael Pitts, and I do Kyle Pitts. I do like him, but I think he'll be just a part of a better offense.
You got a lot of mouths to feed there.
Yeah, I'm not keen on. I love Drake London.
Fabulous.
Drake London last year, last couple of years.
Darnell Mooney.
There was another stat about Drake London about being one of the top wide receivers in the fourth quarter. Again, another crazy stat.
Yep.
But a guy who they relied on that could catch the ball. Yeah, and I like that offense. So Michael Penix, again, yards per attempt, number 1 last year. Who would have thought that?
Yeah.
And he was actually 8th in yards per game. Okay, 250 yards a game when he was starting, which is very valuable.
Did you ever get a chance to watch him play in college, Michael Penix?
I mean, a little bit. I'm not really a college guy we talked about, but a little bit.
The kid has got a rocket
Oh, no,
launcher for an arm, an absolute beast.
Cannon. Yeah, there are some lefties in sports, and you see this in baseball, you see it certainly in football. Not many, but when you got a lefty that can throw hard, like in baseball especially, I just think there's a distinct advantage there. Different arm angle, different arm slot. I know we talk about platoon splits all the time, and normally righties have platoon splits against lefties going to baseball now, and lefties to righties. But a dominant lefty gets through those splits and can dominate righties and lefties. This kid, his throwing motion, I guarantee he could throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. I guarantee it. I guarantee he can get one of them pitching cages with the radar gun. Like, who's this tall, skinny kid? 95 on the block. I mean, without even hesitating. So, yeah, he can fling it. And I just think that offense has high ceilings. And if you're looking for players with high ceilings, Drake London we talked about, Darnell Mooney, there's others. Certainly Bijan's being taken in the first round. I just think overall that offense takes a big step this year. And that's on the back of coaching. It's on the back of Penix. It's on the back of, again, fixing the defense. I think that team, and again, that division's terrible. So that division's always up for grabs. So you look across the landscape, they got to play those other teams 6 times. So I like them this year. So we really haven't talked about the Falcons and their pieces, but maybe next week as we get more into the drafting, that we'll start to get into where some of these players are going to fall for the Falcons. but I like him. Give me some Michael Penix.
Yeah, well, and let me tell you what, the further development of Michael Penix and his receiving crew and the further improvement of that offensive line and the further improvement of that defense and their ability to sack the quarterback, that's going to give the offense more possessions per game, even if it's just one per game. Okay, more possessions per game, more opportunities, and a lot of people seem to be forgetting about Bijan.
Oh, they were forgetting about him.
Bijan Robinson is going to be an absolute.
This is who they're wanting to forget about.
monster.
Is the fact that they removed themselves so far from Arthur Smith.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then now they had, which the Steelers are so happy to have. So we, yeah. So that's who the Falcons are now, and I think there's a lot of room for improvement on that offense for sure. So big pieces.
100%.
Big pieces.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So, well, unless you have something else, we can actually end this a little on the early side.
Can we talk baseball for a second?
Oh my God.
Just Shohei Ohtani.
Must we?
Just Shohei Ohtani.
Can we talk about UFOs instead?
Can I show you Shohei Ohtani?
Speaking of a freaking alien.
If I got to put my glasses on, it's serious.
Uh-oh.
First of all, let me just start out by saying F Shohei. Okay, just F Shohei.
Oh, you want to bet?
Yeah, and I'm just not interested in the whole deal.
Bet.
Since June 16th, I mean, he's had a hot week. So this is about 4 days ago. But since
And he's been pitching.
since he's been pitching, 238, 358 on base, 531 slug, 143 WRC plus. Still very good. The 238 average is not, but the on base is above average and certainly slugging with power. That was after he started pitching. I've said this since day one, is when they paid him for that contract, they paid him on a ceiling based upon being the best pitcher and the best hitter. And I argued from day one that it was going to be nearly impossible for him to sustain both. One, we've never seen it.
It's hard.
Two, this is at the highest of levels. And three, you have to understand that the Dodgers in their psyche, we're going to try and protect him in every way that they can, which means they're going to have to sacrifice on both ends. They're going to have to take a little bit away from the pitching, mostly from the pitching to this point, because he had an injury already. And then eventually take a little bit away from what he's really good at, which is the hitting. So there's a diminishing return at this point from Shohei Ohtani, because you're never going to get to that full potential that you wanted him to be, which was the best pitcher in the league, the best hitter in the league. Hasn't happened. He's not even the best hitter in the league. Now, when he's in there pitching, his peripherals are amazing, but you're getting 2 and 3 innings at a time. And I know long term, ideally, they want to have them in their pocket so that they can get him out and start one of the games, and they can get 5 innings from him potentially. But is that what you paid for? You paid $1 billion for a guy that's going to give you 100 innings a year, and his hitting is going to decline once he's pitching?
All his pitching right now, whether he's starting games, okay, and he's gone, 4 innings now? He's gone 4 full?
And
that's as long as he's gone?
Yeah.
And I've heard analysts speak on this, of course. And I think what they're angling for is they're angling for him to be available in postseason as a middle reliever or as a spot starter or a beginner. Now there's a whole thing where now teams are ready to use pitching by committee.
Yeah, but
which is usually a playoff or a World Series thing.
Ohtani's not coming out of the pen. He's not.
I'm telling you right now.
No, he's not.
It's gonna be a thing.
Yeah, he's not coming out of the pen. But
I'm just telling you.
I mean,
a lot of people that are much smarter than we are about baseball
I don't
have been saying
in an extremely high leverage situation, perhaps depending on where their bullpen is in Game 6 if they need him, and that's assuming. Now remember, he's already would have started Game 3 or Game 2. So to take him from the starting position and then put him in the bullpen, it's not going to happen.
Or long relief.
Not going to happen.
Long relief.
He'll be starting one of the games, and I don't know what the current or what they're going to be a month from now, what their staff's going to look like. But he's getting the ball Game 1 or Game 2.
Sure.
That's 100%.
Okay.
So that being said, once he is in that position,
You think
again,
Kershaw is washed?
that's a guy who they'll put in the pen and use him in a leverage spot against against a lefty or against somebody he's got a good history versus. Yeah, that's a guy they don't want to have to be able to start for them. So, but again, it's gonna depend on what their staff looks like at the end of the year. Klasno's back. Ohtani's building up to whatever pitch count they want him to build up to.
Yeah, Glasnow's all the way back. Holy crap.
So, I mean, it depends on where their staff is.
Is he throwing 100 again? He's throwing 100 again.
Yeah, but so was Ohtani. But this is my point on Ohtani. Ohtani, you're never going to get full return from him in terms of on the field. Now, they're making money hand and foot off of Ohtani because of his popularity and the influence in Asia and everything else. That's not my discussion. My discussion is performance-based, fantasy-based, real-life baseball. The Dodgers are not going to win anywhere close to 100 games this year. They were way oversold, and they were oversold based on Ohtani, I feel. And yes, the lineup and Betts and Freeman and stuff like that.
So you're not seeing a possibility of a repeat championship then?
If they don't fix their pitching, and if they're going to depend on Ohtani coming out in Game 2, because I don't think he'll be a Game 1 starter, they'll have some, probably Glasnow or somebody. I don't like how it's setting up for the Dodgers. I just don't. And Betts is not playing well, and he hasn't. It's been 6 months, 4 months now, 5 months of baseball, still not playing well. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know what the back end of the lineup looks like, and I don't know how good that pitching staff is going to be.
That's when a guy like Dave Roberts comes in, because you have to have a superior manager, which he has proven over and over again. He is a superior manager. He's one of the best, if not the very best, managers in the National League and in baseball. So I would kind of defer to the manager. I would defer to the manager and his coaching staff. I think that I've seen the philosophy, and I agree with the idea that Ohtani is being saved for middle or long finish relief in the playoffs. I think that they can go with Kershaw. I think that they can go with who's the other Japanese kid? Suzuki, is it? That's the Japanese pitcher they have. Yamamoto. Okay, they can go with him. Listen, Yamamoto and Ohtani, they have made the Los Angeles Dodgers the most popular baseball team in Japan. And Japan has their own teams. Japan has their own leagues. Okay, they already have 6 or 7 teams that are national treasures. And guess what? They all love the Dodgers because they have a couple of Japanese superstars playing for the Dodgers.
Ohtani's a cheater.
Huh?
Cheater.
Want to bet?
Cheater.
Want to bet?
Just ask Ohtani. He'll bet you.
Yeah, I bet. No, he won't. He has somebody do it for me.
That's true.
For him. Somebody who can speak English. All right, so that wraps things up. We managed to get in a 6-minute bitch fest about Ohtani. And, of course, I've countered your bitching.
Any chance I get.
Any chance he gets. How about those Astros?
They're going to be good.
Look at the look of disgust on your face.
What do you think about the Astros, Chuck? Fuck the Astros.
Yeah, well, okay. I'll go you one better. How about the Miami Marlins? 2 games under 500, and they ran into a schedule where they're up against some of the big boys, including Houston.
Second best record since June 18th, I think it is. They're like 33-15 or 34-16 now after the weekend.
And listen, I'm a jaded and disillusioned baseball fan because of the previous administrations. Administrations, plural. Okay, but the ownership group has taken the right direction this time. They essentially went and stole a bunch of executives from the Tampa Bay Rays. And they are using the same philosophy.
Blueprint, yeah.
And we've seen how successful the Rays have been the last 10 years.
Yeah,
so,
with not spending much money, which is the blueprint for the Marlins.
They took a bunch of babies and a bunch of cast-offs. They hired a really good manager. I have hope for the first time in years.
You know what? If Alcantara
since Fernandez died, I have hope.
If Alcantara was any good this year, that team would be in the mix for a wild card right now.
He's still recovering from
his injuries. Been 2 years. He hasn't been good. They can't even trade him. Trade deadline came and went. No offers.
He'll be fine. No, he'll be fine.
First of all, if you look at his statistics, his peripherals, he's never been a strikeout guy, even though he's got good stuff.
He eats innings.
Right. And
low ERA.
Not a strikeout guy, which means you induce contact. If you're getting hit hard every time you go out there, there's a problem.
Yeah,
and he's not pitching well. He hasn't pitched well since he's come back.
And so we know that in the future, he can be counted on to be a number 3 starter, number 4 starter. That's fine. They're building something, and we can actually see it. We're actually seeing evidence of it. So let's hope it continues. Eventually, you'll start getting my money again because I love going to baseball games. But keep an eye on the Marlins.
They got some pieces.
That's all I gotta say.
They got pieces.
All right, then.
Xavier Edwards been on a tear.
Okay.
Shortstop.
Well, the Dolphins take on the Chicago Bears here in about an hour and a minute, so I got to go get ready. I'm already ready. So, on behalf of myself and Damaz, we will see you next Sunday, right? We'll see you next Sunday, right?
We will see you next Sunday. Peace out.
Okay, on behalf of Charles Brown and Lucille Van Pelt and the rest of the gang, we will catch you guys next week here on the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. Thanks for watching. Peace.